Good afternoon, folks. Thank you so much for coming to this Coronavirus Cocoon 5 awareness activity. If you see on your screen the PowerPoint, the front page, I found out this one this morning. Um, I went back and forth. Stacy and I uh, talking about the concepts of emerging from our coronavirus cocoons. For me, that began to envelop a concept of preparing to come out of our cocoons. That I saw Stacy make a posting this morning that talked about preparing to spread our wings. Since I've been doing these coronavirus cocoon webinars, I've been excited about the activity as well as the way it becomes developed. Usually, about 3 days before, I'll come together with a pretty rough draft of the PowerPoint as a result of looking at different resources, especially images that I think would pass on the message that Stacy and I want to pass on. And then yesterday, I thought I had it pretty much complete. And then when I saw it being advertised as preparation or preparing to spread our wings, that cemented it for me because it really took me where wanted to bring this. Preparing to spread our wings. If you see this image of this long road going into the mountains, um, life must be a preparation for the transition to another dimension. It caught my eye immediately when I found it 3 days ago in Google Images when I was thinking about transition preparation. But this whole concept of to another dimension just strikes me as I was sitting listening to the music I'm Coming Out by Diana Ross, which was originally published in 1980. What was going on in my life in 1980? I was 30 years old. I was 3 years into trying to stay sober. I was 3 years removed from my last hospitalization. And in that sense as well, I was coming out. I was coming out of a different cocoon at that point. It was a cocoon of my alcoholism. It was a cocoon of my addiction to alcohol and my addiction to people, places, and things that weren't steadying me very well. So we're talking about 39 years ago, that song, I'm Coming Out by Diana Ross, when it was published, affected me and impacted who I was and how I was. And isn't that so much the power of music? We've talked about soothing our souls while we're in this coronavirus cocoon, and that continues to apply today because as we think about preparing to spread our wings, as we think about preparing to leave the cocoon as a result of some of the restrictions being lifted. In Connecticut, it'll be on the 20th of May. If you're just coming in from another state, I'm sure it's either already happened or it is happening. What we want to explore today as we prepare to spread our wings as we come out of our coronavirus cocoon, we want to think about what does that mean? We want to think about how do I get ready for this? How do I begin to spread my wings? Good afternoon, Carlos. Welcome, Laura D. Life must be a preparation for the transition to another dimension. Again, it's amazing. For me, that's why I love images. I always tell people that when I write a book, it'll probably be a series of PowerPoint presentations, and there'll be more images that will allow you to image in the information so that you can continue to look at it and think about it and grasp and see what meaning it has for you. Because that's what it does for me. When I looked at this initially, the preparation piece and the transition piece fit real well. And then when I was looking at it this morning, when I decided to make it my cover image, the word dimension hit me. Think about Recovery Coach Academy. Day 5, self-care, the dimensions of wellness. That clearly applies to preparing to spread our wings. Our ability and our willingness and our desire to experience another dimension, physical dimension, social dimension, spiritual dimension, mental dimension, psychological dimension, and even vocational or career dimension will come into play. I don't know about you, but I've been changed in the dimensions of my wellness and in the dimensions of my holistic nature of who I am during the course of being in this cocoon. And that change has taken place in the moods, the emotions, and the feelings. Think about that. Think about the dimension, and more appropriately, the dimensions that you will begin to embrace as you move out of your cocoon and begin to spread your wings and begin to come out. Life must be a preparation for the transition to another dimension beyond the coronavirus cocoon. Leaving the cocoon. That's what we're thinking about. That's what I want you to think about. In my role as a recovery coach, and appreciate the fact when I do these webinars, I am performing the role of a master recovery coach with a group of people, coaches, allies of recovery, friends of recovery, people who just saw the title and found it interesting relative to their own lives. And I want you to think about some things in a way you may not have thought about them before. And one of those concepts is leaving the cocoon. Leaving the cocoon is similar to our human journeys of transition and transformation. In the transformation from a caterpillar to a butterfly, the caterpillar encloses itself into a cocoon and begins its transition to its transformation into a butterfly. Think about that in the context of coming out of our cocoons, re-entering the world. And it won't be the world that we knew before. Many people call it a new world, a new way, a new dimension of being and living and existing and leading our lives. So in many ways, leaving the cocoon is a transition and a transformation. And if you recall that your own transition and your own transformation in major changes you've made in your life, think about how important it was to think about them beforehand. Stephen Covey speaks about, in his Habits of Effective People, he talks about start with the end in mind. Begin with the end in mind. And the end in mind that we have for the caterpillar is a butterfly. What is the end in mind that you have as you come out of your own cocoon? Yes, the cocoon, the chrysalis. Gosh, I've learned a lot about caterpillars and butterflies and soul and children and the symbols that the butterfly has relative to children. Envision leaving the cocoon. Envision that prospect. Because that's what this webinar is about. It's about you imaging in. It's about you imagining. It's about you developing and creating, and I would hope at some level documenting your vision of who and what you will be as you come out of the cocoon. Like I said, I'm going to be different. And I'm not going to say if that's good or bad. I'm just saying I'm going to be different. I'm appreciating the vulnerability that was showcased as I'm living in this cocoon. And I appreciate the vulnerability that will continue to be a part of who I am as a result of me being 69 years old and living with heart failure. So I have to be very careful. I have to, at some level, in that carefulness, practice acceptance in relation to my vulnerability as I envision leaving my cocoon. Think about your perception of what's going to be comfortable and safe for you as you come out of your cocoon. And these are things we want to think about before rather than after. And again, we teach best what we most need to learn. So as you come out of your cocoon, and probably before you're leaving your cocoon, you continue to work with recoveries. You continue to guide your children and your grandchildren. You continue to make connections, so be it by media and technology, but you're making connections that you can begin to share what you're learning about what you're thinking about and what you're envisioning about leaving the cocoon. Those are conversations that I believe matter, that will help the people that you are making your own humble effort to help. It just demonstrates how caring isn't what I do, it's what I am. It demonstrates that the never-ending passion for doing this work is the never-ending activity of this work. When we see the end, the road is definitely less terrifying. When we see the end, it allows us to begin to build towards that ending or towards that transformation. However, the beginning of any transformation is transition. And I'm going to spend some time helping you to think about the transition beyond the cocoon. Keep writing, folks. I enjoy the ability to have a collaborative learning opportunity, and I certainly welcome your comments and thoughts. So I'll get to as many of them as I can. So envision leaving the cocoon. Is it time to leave your coronavirus cocoon? Is it time for you to leave your coronavirus cocoon? I think that's one of the thoughts that came up as Stacey and I thought about this webinar, because I think some people have expressed fear, some people have expressed a passion to become free, and the whole realm of emotions and feelings and perceptions and thoughts and doubts and fears and all, it runs the gamut. It runs the gamut. A shared passion for living. Is it time to leave your coronavirus cocoon? And how do you know? How do you know? I would hope some of the work that we do this today, in the course of the next 40 minutes or so, will help you to know more, will help you to gain some direction in your life on how you are going to lead yourself out of your cocoon. Notice I didn't say live yourself out of it. I didn't say survive yourself out of it. When we lead our lives, when we lead ourselves out of the cocoon, we become the leaders of our lives. Just as we work to help recoveries to learn how to lead their lives. You teach best what you most need to learn. And the beginning of leading our lives is creating a vision. Envisioning leaving the cocoon is your responsibility to create a vision. If you make a connection with someone that you're helping via telephone or Zoom or the various technologies that we've embraced and captured while we've been in our cocoons, share what stands out for you in this webinar, because that's what it's for. When you teach it, you learn it twice. You teach best what you most need to learn. So as we move through this, be gentle with yourselves, but also be honest with yourselves. Take responsibility for taking a look at your stuff, as it may have either developed or become magnified or occurs while we're in the cocoon, because we're going to come out and we have a responsibility to help others, but we got to help ourselves first. Yeah, Sharon, the world will be different. Your friendships from Zoom and the webinars have been amazing, and you bring them to the outside world as a result of the value that they have for us. I'm excited about many things that I've done while I've been in my cocoon because I've embraced the technology. I've been able to do many things via Zoom and via Skype and via the phone that I hadn't thought about before. Welcome, Robin. This is an image that I found several days ago, and initially it was going to be my cover image, and yet still applies to the work that we're doing. And if you can't see it, this is a picture of a half nude woman coming out of a cocoon. And it says, "Is it time for you to move to the next stage of your cocoon to butterfly transition?" This is what we want you to think about. Greetings, Ruth. Is it time for you to move to the next stage of your cocoon, of your butterfly cocoon, of your coronavirus cocoon to butterfly transition? And again, remember, transition leads to transformation. The butterfly just coming out of the cocoon has not fully formed its wings. That continues to be the transition process. And think about it in the context of you as well. When you come out of your cocoon, be open to what it feels like. Embrace what it feels like. Most importantly, be aware of what it feels like and how you think about it. And that will help you to spread your wings in the way that'll be most compatible to your vision of where you want, what you want to build from this experience. Is it time for you to move to the next stage of your coronavirus cocoon to transition and spread your wings? This is an image I'm pretty sure I've shown before, and this is the core of my work now. If you've seen this before, I would have talked before about the fact that in my own transition, as I await a human heart to replace the left ventricle assist device that currently keeps me in my world out of the hospital. It keeps my heart pumping and beating in such a way that I'm able to live and lead my life in a way that has been more than satisfactory. So I think a lot about transition. And for me, this is what I call my transition help framework. It starts with awareness, preparation, grow model, emotional intelligence, support, and grit. I'm going to share pieces of this, but again, this is the centerpiece of the work that I do now. And in many ways, I share it as much as I can because it is about transition. We spend so much time talking about transform people, transform people. However, in order to transform ourselves and help other people to transform, we need a framework of what that transition will look like. For many people, that transition is through programs like 12-step recovery, and the multiple pathways of recovery offer a framework for change, a framework for a transition process that will hopefully lead to a transformation. Remember that. Appreciate what your transformation to become who you are today involves. And I be be I'd be surprised if it didn't at some level embrace many of these circles. So I want you to think about it now in relation to the transition out of your cocoon and into what they call quotation marks around it. The new normal. Relative to your awareness how aware are you your beliefs and emotions as you emerge from your cocoon. How aware have you been of your beliefs and your emotions as you were in your cocoon. And what are the emotions in the beliefs that begin to emerge as you begin to emerge. Transition out of and from your cocoon. preparation. How prepared are you to emerge from your cocoon? And how do you know that you have adequate preparation? How do you know that your preparation is adequate to put you into the new normal. And allow you to embrace your vision. Of what and how you want your life to be. As you move out of the cocoon, as you spread your wings. Yes, yes, yes. Check yourself before you correct yourself. The conflict was necessary procedures are changed. And that's the conflict I'm asking you to look at. That's health. stuff. It puts us in a position to be aware to and to